What's going on, guys? It's Jev. So EA just ended up putting out a UFC 5 first look trailer. They ended up showing and going over some of the features and gameplay changes and stuff that are going on. So we're gonna see, you know, what all this whole thing is about. They got a 4K trailer here, 4.5 minutes. I'm gonna assume there's a lot of information. So there were some clips and stuff that leaked before. I made a video on it before of people leaking gameplay. And I was mentioning in that video that I thought that it looked pretty similar to UFC 4. So maybe, you know, just looking at this and seeing actual gameplay, more gameplay, stand-up gameplay, transitions, things like that. Whatever they're going to show off in this whole thing, maybe even a career mode, we'll have a better understanding of what we're going to be getting here with UFC 5, and also to see if there's more of a possibility, more or less of a possibility for a whole Requise playthrough. And again, obviously, if there is no Requise playthrough, it still ain't going to stop me from playing the game. So if you guys are excited for UFC 5 and the return of Requise, leave a like on this video. It'll give me a good idea of, like, you know, how everybody's feeling about this whole thing, and also after, you know, obviously we look through this whole gameplay thing, let me know down in the comment section what you guys think, and yeah, I guess we just watch it now.
Stepping into the octagon is a fully
Gameplay's not final.
experience. All at once, it becomes you, and it comes at you.
That's the authentic.
All right, immediately graphically speaking, it actually looks really good, at least from these cinematic angles and stuff like that. It doesn't look absolutely unbelievable, the greatest graphics I've ever seen, but I definitely see the, you know, upgrade overall in terms of like fidelity. Again, we're on console, so like there's probably not a lot of settings you can change. I wouldn't be surprised if there's like a whole lot of ghosting or weird anti-aliasing stuff, motion blur, other things like that. That'll definitely make the game look a little bit more smudgy and less detailed, but we'll see. Islam looks good. Izzy looks good. They updated the tattoo on his face. Charles looks pretty good. Yeah, graphically it looks really, really nice. Yeah, so this is what I was talking about, the Frostbite engine versus the old Ignite engine that they were using. Overall, though, just from the gameplay leaks, I didn't notice a massive difference in the gameplay between UFC 4 to UFC 5. So even if it is like slightly better graphics or something on a different engine, I'm wondering why they made the engine change if the gameplay isn't going to be that different. That's just me. I mean, I'm not a developer. Maybe I don't really understand the purpose of engine changes, but it seems highly unlikely. I wasn't sure if they like had to rebuild every single animation that they had from bottom to top, you know, just because of the entirely different engine, or maybe they're a little bit more closely related than, you know, we were thinking. I mean, of course it looks really good, you know, when you're zooming in on it and everything, but in game, what does it actually look like? Boom, good head kick. Lots of blood and okay. I mean, just looking at these kicks right here and these knockouts, it looks like the characters actually react like real big to the punches. There's this thing that would happen in UFC 4, especially early into UFC 4's life, before they ended up updating a lot of the knockouts and ragdoll effects. The character would get hit by something that didn't even look like it was that hard, but it would just have like a hard impact sound. And the characters seemed really, really stiff. If you ever watch any of these actual fights, when people get knocked out, I mean, people's heads almost spin completely around when they get hit, man. It's crazy. And their body's literally full. When dude has a little bit of momentum right here, leans into the punch. This right here looks almost identical. The way that some of them could get knocked out, this is an identical animation and falling. Even if it is, quote, ragdoll, it's the exact same thing. It looks just like UFC 4. I'm just putting it out there already. Lots of cuts and bruises and stuff. Oh, gameplay. Oh, shit, we got actual... Okay, wait.
Gameplay. That all starts with the foundation of the real impact system.
Uppercut. But just looking at this gameplay right here, it straight up looks just like UFC 4. Maybe there's a little bit of a different animation.
Effect on gameplay.
Like right there, that body hook was a little bit different.
That all starts with the foundation of the real impact system.
That hook animation is a little bit different, but that overhand, the jabs, the way that the characters are even stepping and moving with the stance and everything, it looks just like UFC 4. Got Cheeto, low kicks. Cheeto's model looks great, holy fuck. So they're saying real impact system where, like, if I'm throwing my right hand a lot and it's landing a lot on like their right side or some shit, it'll likely give them a cut or swelling or bruising on that right side, which makes a lot of sense because I mean there's a lot of times where it's like just generally here's head damage, here's body damage, here's leg damage. I wonder how many different locations can somebody be cut in. Are some of them worse than others? If somebody say gets, you know, a cut over their eyebrow, would it bleed more or less depending on the character? Is there like a stat for that kind of thing? Because there are people in real life that straight up just don't get cut for whatever reason, or when they do get cut they don't bleed a lot. Other people naturally will get cut open easier and they'll bleed a lot more. And what does that really affect? So it's showing that he has a damage to his eye right here. So that's actually giving him like a debuff in the middle of the fight, which is very realistic. I kind of like that.
If you got a cut bleeding into your eye,
right,
it will lower your defensive abilities on that side of the body. And if you
now, what do they mean lower that defensive ability? Do they mean like my blocking attribute is lower on that side or something? Because I clearly see it as a player, right? It's not gonna like start darkening like the one side of my screen or something like that. So I'm assuming it's just like a weaker block on that side, maybe a slower block reaction. I don't know. Now here's the thing, I don't hate UFC 4's gameplay overall. I don't. I like the gameplay loop. Given I'm not insanely good, I'm not somebody that has spent, you know, thousands upon thousands of hours playing these UFC UFC games. I've spent a good amount of time on them, but I don't know all the intricate problems with the system that like a lot of like say competitive or like really high rated players notice on these games. So I could definitely be missing some things.
One too many kicks
Overhand.
to your leg, you'll start to limp. Your mobility
Oh, he
will
tried to throw a
decline.
leg kick while his leg was damaged. Look.
You'll start to limp.
When he tried to pivot on that leg, he couldn't actually throw a leg kick because of the damage to his leg. But still, generally, the gameplay looks the same. Even right there, even the way that he fell over. That's the same animation to how he fell over before. Look at his arms. Why did his... Okay, no, there's definitely gonna be ragdoll in this shit. No way there isn't ragdoll. This looks like a UFC... okay, we got a little bit more time, but this straight up looks like UFC 4. Just like slightly upgrade. I don't know what they did for 3 years, but that's crazy. Okay, so they got the... here's the doctor stoppage stuff. So you have the chance... ooh, John Jones gameplay at heavyweight. Yeah, this looks just like UFC 4, actually. Graphically looks a little bit better, but not as good as like those really up-close shots where you can see the beads of sweat on him. Okay, yeah, okay. I actually really like this seamless submission thing. This actually looks really cool, and it's definitely more accurate to how like actual submission things go. There's not always this thing where it's like, oh, I'm in guard, oh, I'm in side control, in half guard this whole time. Those aren't the only things. People can roll for legs, and then there's multiple... right there, look at that. Yeah, I really like this. Just looking at these right here, full guard, backside, Kimura, knee on belly. I don't know if they have the simplified controls on here, but this whole grappling system seems like it's exactly like UFC 4's. I don't know how people feel about the grappling system. They got rid of the submission mini games, but I don't know if we've seen that yet. Okay, he's going for the Kimura, and then he transfers out, ends up getting to the armbar, going for that. I didn't see anything about the actual submission game, though. What determines if the submission is actually going to work right there? Obviously, we'll figure out how it works, but overall, I mean, these transitions look really, really smooth. I like how it looks. It looks a lot better overall, but it might be annoying as fuck. Why did Tony's face just turn beet red this quickly? Look at this. Look how fast his face turns red. Okay, first of all, when you're getting armbarred, you're not getting strangled, dude. Why did his face turn into a fucking cherry? Presentation updates.
In truly innovative fashion is the all-new cinematic KO replay.
Okay, we're gonna do a whole lot with this if Requise is able to be done in here. Of course, they show the Gaethje head kick on Poirier. Okay, yeah, I mean, right here, it just shows, like, the character is still finishing out the animation of throwing a punch, but they'll get knocked out in the process. They'll continue carrying that momentum forward. That's pretty good and can result in a lot of good knockouts. I think the Requise videos will definitely benefit from, like, this whole cinematic knockout thing and all that. Can you save knockouts? Lots of great screenshots and shit. Although I hope that there's not always this ugly-ass color correction over top of everything. I don't know why they're, like, reducing the saturation by 50% and then, like, putting, like, this weird blue, greenish, gray filter over top of it. It'd be really cool if the replay system was like kind of highly customizable, where you could actually like change the look of it overall with like a color correction, add slow motion wherever you would need to. You'd be able to save your knockouts and stuff, and kind of have like maybe like a file share or something like that, where if you do like a really cool moment on some Anderson Silva type shit where you're just bobbing and weaving, multiple shots, just good head movement type of shit, it'd be really cool to be able to like go and make your own, be able to, especially for content creation, be able to show off like all these like cool little moments and stuff. But I doubt it. I have a feeling that all of these different angles and stuff like that will literally be the exact same thing that they had in UFC 4, where they just showed, you know, 3 or 4 different angles. They already had this in a sense. Okay, so you can get online draws, which is, sure, I mean, people have been asking for it, I guess, but how many? New game modes? Ooh, shit. Okay, hold on. We're pausing here. This looks like the main menu. Fight week. Volkanovski versus Rodriguez locks in 15 days. Go to pay-per-view fight week to make picks on real UFC events. Oh, shit. So, like, on Fridays or Saturdays, I could do a UFC video every single time, and all the people that get mad about me throwing in my picks into, like, a Texas Chainsaw video or a Call of Duty video, now whenever they go onto a UFC video, they know I'll put my picks right there. So you have the fight week where you can actually do picks and stuff like that. I assume you win like coins or something if you pick correctly. You just have a regular fight that's like exhibition, career mode, which I assume they'll expand on, online, store. I never bought anything from the store for the UFC thing. Event creator. I assume that could be like a tournament thing. Tutorial mode, create fighter. So they still obviously have a created fighter thing. I'm going to assume that works for career mode and all that.
New alter egos.
Okay, so now they got alter egos. So boom, yeah, you can see this right here. So this is like early Conor before he even got like the chest tattoo and everything. This is 145, mythical fighter 145 Conor McGregor. Contender McGregor. Young John Jones coming in. What the fuck is this? Naruto Izzy? What the fuck is this? Career mode. Coach Davis is back. He literally looks the exact same.
Along with help from
this is your created character right here. Created character looks like absolute shit. They look like a created character in the universe between all these other like face scanned characters. It's kind of expected, I get it. Taking a look at this guy's face, oh yeah. Straight up, EA didn't change anything. I can almost guarantee we're gonna have the exact same haircuts. Like maybe some extra different ones, and maybe a little bit of the hair texture will be a little bit better or whatever. But overall, on Requise especially, I can almost guarantee they are using the same exact templates, which is crazy to think about. We've seen the same animation, presumably the same templates for eyebrows and facial hair and stuff like that, but on a completely different engine. What were they doing for 3 years? The replays look good and all. Kind of reminds me of Fight Night in a way, but a lot of the character models actually look really good. I mean, look how good Dominic Cruz looks right here. Cheeto, his model looks awesome. Overall, I think graphically the game looks really good, but it seems like this is literally just UFC 4.5. Anyway, UFC event tonight. Big fight for women's MMA. Grasso, she's also got that like custom belt too. Oh, it's so sick. It looks so good. Looking at this whole card, I mean, it's an okay card. It's nothing crazy. I mean, it is a fight night, but that doesn't really mean anything. I mean, name value wise, I mean, the fights can still be absolute barn burners, bangers. I'll just pick these 3 fights here. Raul Rosas Jr. versus Terrence Mitchell. Raul got humbled in his last fight. I think he's still really good, but obviously he knows that he needs to improve on one thing or another. I think Raul will win this fight. I think the UFC also wants to take care of him, so they'll slow down on pushing him a little bit, give him a bunch of fights that aren't too dangerous, that are just kind of, you know, testing him here and there, but nothing too crazy yet. Yeah, I think Raul Rosas Jr. will win that. Kevin Holland versus Jack Della Maddalena. Jack should win this fight, but I want Kevin Holland to win this fight. Pick overall, I mean, some people seem to think that Jack is just going to absolutely destroy Kevin Holland. I don't know about that. Jack is good, but Kevin is super dangerous. Like, I'm telling you, Kevin could clip the shit out of Jack, and none of the stuff that Jack can do and is capable of matters. I want Kevin Holland to win. I'm just gonna say, like, I'll ride with Kevin Holland. Fuck it. He's just a really fun fighter to watch. I'm going with Kevin. Fuck it. Then Alexa Grasso versus Valentina Shevchenko. Alexa Grasso ended up upsetting Valentina Shevchenko in their last fight by submission. She had a good first round as well. But overall, like watching the fight back, I think Valentina, I don't want to take anything away from Alexa Grasso because she won that fight fair and square. In my head, I also thought like, man, Shevchenko kind of got figured out right there. Alexa Grasso kind of beat her on the feet. She beat her with the grappling. She had answers for everything. And then she capitalized on Valentina's desperation and mistakes. But when I watched the fight back, Grasso had a good first round. Shevchenko stepped it up a little bit, but ultimately it was Shevchenko making mistakes that Grasso ended up capitalizing on and ended up getting the finish. I think that Valentina Shevchenko is still the better fighter. And I think if Valentina doesn't throw too much spinning shit anymore and takes it a little bit more measured, I think that she could actually beat Alexa Grasso. I do like Alexa Grasso though. Not taking anything away from her. She has all the tools to beat her. She beat her last time. She could capitalize on any and every mistake that Valentina can make. So if she ends up making Valentina second guess herself again, start making mistakes again, Alexa will beat her again. But I'm going with Shevchenko. Regardless of how much, you know, is actually changed for UFC 4 to UFC 5, exclusively current gen consoles as well. Don't know why they don't put it on PC. Really odd. But yeah, thank you guys so much for all the love and support. Let me know what you guys think about the UFC 5 gameplay and stuff like that. Do you notice anything that I didn't notice? And yeah, it's been Jev, guys. Later.